Welcome back to our next session of the Data Talks. I'm really happy to introduce you once again to our followers for Mindfuel, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all.
Yeah, thank you, Francie. Happy to be back for the second time already. So I'm CPO, Chief Party Officer, now of course Product Officer at Mindfuel, and the co-founder. So yeah, let's say I'm working on the light with my team heavily, making data leaders work towards visible data impacts. That's the shortest slackline I can give you today.
Amazing. That sounds really good. And what I like to do with the people that I interview, starting off with a little warm-up exercise to just feel a bit more comfortable during our interview. So maybe let's look at a few small questions, and
Sure.
you can only answer in a short way, okay?
Let's see.
Let's see. Yeah, it's sometimes not so easy to answer, actually short, right? So
Yeah.
let's try it out. So the first question would be to maybe get to know you a little bit more. What is your favorite non-work related hobby that helps you unwind?
So actually, I've been on the mountain bike just on Sunday. So today is Tuesday, and I started the season, mountain bike season. I got lost a little bit of this hobby lately because we have a dog now since 2 years.
Oh.
But let's say, so the dog is the hobby now, but in general, I think it's also mountain biking in summers, but also snowboarding in winters. So let's say I would love to have more time for those hobbies lately, but yeah, besides that I think is things that I like, being in the mountains, kind of.
I can fully understand. I love snowboarding as well. And who knows, maybe at some stage you can take the dog on the snowboard or in front of it or also next to the bicycle.
Yeah.
So combine the hobbies.
Trying.
Very good. And the next question would be, what is maybe a weird place where you had a business epiphany, for example, in the shower or going grocery shopping or, yeah, I don't know.
Yes, so the question really is if this is really an unusual situation, but people who work with me know that so always in the first meeting, I'm the most creative because I always think about business during showering, actually. So, I have a counter on my toothbrush, and I think the longest ever counted was 15 minutes because that's, I'm just, so I don't do it actively. I'm just thinking. And then after 15 minutes, I was like, okay, what's happening here? But I think I just go through ideas and maybe also a little bit like reflection from the day before and what's ahead of my day. So that's, let's say, the most common one every day, which is repeating. But I think I have been in many different places. I remember being in the mountains on the top of a hill, Nadim calling me, and we were talking for an hour about stuff and then realizing a lot of things. So yeah, I think it comes also with the remote work that people might get different ideas in different situations, which is more common than, let's say, if you just go to the office every day, which I, by the way, always have been in favor with. So even when I worked at the office every day, the best ideas came when walking outside the office because an office is just square. And let's say, I think the greatest invention ever have been invented in a cubicle. At least that's my impression.
Yeah, I can resonate with this. I also have that. So when I go outside in the nature, then you just get to a different state of mind and you kind of reflect on what has happened before and also kind of predict the future, let's say. And yeah, so fully understand you there. And maybe on to the next question.
Sure.
Really short answer now, okay? If you think about the last book you read or one of the books that influenced your thinking, can you tell us which book that would be? Because I feel like sometimes it's really interesting to see what our data leaders or product leaders are actually reading about.
Yeah. So it's a little bit staged at this point, right? Because I grabbed the book before now, but let me highlight that this book is really not domain specific regarding data or product management, but the book that I'm reading at the moment, and I just also make a promotion for it now, it's called Same as Ever. And it's, I think, 23 little, let's say, lessons about life, about things that never change, because I think we are in a very fast changing world, right?
Yeah, you tell me.
I think exactly, and I think we are also sometimes lost in very detailed discussions about things and things we should do now, and so on and so forth. So, and this book currently just helps me to reflect also and zoom out a little bit, get different perspectives about things that actually never change. So one chapter is called Best Story Wins, which I just read on Sunday, actually before the mountain biking. Stories are always more powerful than statistics, and I think that tells a lot and learns a lot, or tells us a lot for the data world.
Yeah.
While facts and data are very important, you still have to make a good story out of it to sell this. And I think, without being too promotional now at this point already, but I, of course, thought a lot about how Delight helps to make, let's say, data visible and tell stories about data and not just bringing facts. Yeah, the thought is not finished, let's say, but the book helps me just to think in this direction. And there are many more lessons in there, yeah, which I just like. And, you know, it's from a very different perspective, but then taking that perspective and trying to reflect it where you are, and then also maybe to the data or product management domain. I think it's just always nice, because maybe that's also a short answer, right? It's also very short, 30 seconds, but it's also, I think, what I studied, like, let me know, business and computer science, like it was always in data and product management. It's always those intersections, which I think are the most exciting ones to me, let's say. I think that's exactly also the book about, you know, there are different views of the world and how do you find intersections and learnings also from different domains, but make it adopted or adoptable to the domain you're in. So that's probably why I like the book, kind of.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing this with us.
Sure.
Maybe I'm gonna get the book for my next snowboard adventure, and then in between the days I can read on it a little bit.
Yes.
But I picked up something quite interesting there, I have to say, and that's the fact of storytelling and how important storytelling actually is. And of course, you mentioned Delight, our own data product management solution. And how do you think Delight helps to tell the story of data in a better way?
Yeah. I think in a very easy fashion, and I think I just have discussed it yesterday with a customer, or in a customer call. We were just reflecting on Delight, and we got product feedback, which was great. And I think I always find the commonality in everybody trying to present data. And where I'm coming from, and make it in a little story, is, as some people might know, I've been working at Thermomix, so the hardware kitchen device, which we then also transformed into a digital and a data-driven consumer product. But I think what was always sticking to myself is a situation where I was promoting data and a recommendation system. You know, it's years ago, you know, the Netflix for the kitchen. So I think to myself, it was a great story, you know, maybe not. But then, you know, the next thing came up in the presentation, and it was just a little piece of plastic. Okay, I don't give details what it was, but it was just a piece of plastic, and everybody could touch it, you know, and you know, and everybody, yeah, exactly. And it was like, because you can see it, you can touch it. I felt that the appreciation about the progress of this plastic piece, which was minor compared to what I believe I was presenting, was still so much higher, right? And the excitement about it. And I think this is maybe also very early where I thought, like, how can we make this more visible? And I think that's exactly where Delight helps you, because it makes it for the very first time in data history kind of really present what data is capable of doing for you, what we call opportunities. Can you already touch it like a plastic piece? Maybe not, but maybe in the future, whoever knows, if we have an Apple Vision Pro app, maybe we make it even more tangible. I don't know. Just
put some glasses on and then see everything visualized right in front of our eyes or so, and maybe you can feel or smell something, who knows?
No, but this is about stories, you know, like good stories. Of course, they are, let's say, they bring a picture in everybody, like in your brain, kind of, right? You're visualizing this. But then, of course, if you then put something on the table, it's even much more powerful, because, let's say, it becomes reality. And I think that's sometimes so hard to convince data stories, because they are so, it's hard to create a picture if people have never seen data or experienced data. So it's quite hard, and data is mostly used. Let's take Netflix again with the recommender system. So people experience, let's say, recommendations in the form of, you know, there's a picture and the name of the movie or the TV show, but of course they don't see what's behind this, right? So even if you use data products like end customer facing products, you still don't see the magic behind, right? And this makes it maybe very hard also for managers on C-levels to grasp what's happening. And again, that's where Delight, I think, helps as a first step to make it visible and tell a story.
So if I can summarize maybe what you just said there, to my understanding, what you just said, it kind of just gives you a tool or a way to really show the impact that the data people create and helps them to tell their story to the business stakeholders, and the business stakeholders get for the first time really a proper, clear impression about what's happening. Where does my money go? What are the data initiatives actually having as an impact on my business goals that I have on my strategy that I developed?
Yeah. And also communicating about it, having a discussion about it. So this is all what is enabling you basically, if you can visualize this. Because let's put it straight, from Snowflake to a TV recommender Kachel on your TV screen, it's a long way that is hard to describe, right? And that's where Delight helps.
So now, as a fun question, maybe in between, if you think about superheroes, what kind of superhero title would you give Delight, or what kind of superpower would you describe it to?
Yeah, very good question. There's a slight problem. I'm not so much into this kind of superheroes. Maybe you help me ideate. So who is a superhero or superwoman as well, of course, who is, let's say, making stuff visible, because that's what Delight does. So is there, do you know any superhero, superwoman like doing this?
Not making visible. I just know from Harry Potter the code where you get invisible.
Yeah, maybe the opposite of this code.
Yeah, the opposite of this code. That's actually very nice. But yeah.
Well, let's ideate. I mean, what I do know are the Marvel movies, but I'm not too sure of. So who has a flashlight? Maybe this is a good way to ideate. Like do you know anybody with a flashlight, like leading the way or guiding the way?
No. Maybe we have to invent a new superhero.
Yeah, Delight, the Delight hero that speaks.
Delighty hero.
our Lumo.
Yeah, Lumo. Oh, what's Lumo?
Yeah, Lumo is our personal data product manager that lives within Delight and helps you to answer questions where it comes to, for example, also business stakeholders, to explain what is a data product or how does the data unit work, and in the future even like do we have worked on a data product that helps, I don't know, the checkout process of our company. So this is where we develop Lumo tools so that they really can make and discover what the data unit, so how they work, what they work on, and what's also existing. And this is actually super cool because, let's say, this is also our journey, how we take our digital product, if you like to, and also make it a data product itself, because we try to practice what we preach, right?
Yeah.
And this is a little bit our journey to bring AI and data to our own SaaS application.
Maybe just once again, where's the differentiation between digital product and data product, what you just described?
Yeah, so by now, I hope everybody knows Notion. If not, Notion is a super great tool that we use at Mindfuel as well. It's kind of a knowledge management tool and a to-do tool and a database task management tool. So when they have started, they have built a very great digital tool, so great user experience, easy to access. But let's say it's defined by you put some data into a system, and this system just represents this data either in the way that you have put it in, or maybe by building different views. But it's always, let's say, human put in data. And I think a data product, when it comes to smart products or consumer-facing products, which is the highest level of our definition of data products, is like they are learning from your behavior. They maybe have Gen AI nowadays integrated. Or let's take Thermomix again. We have a recipe recommender that is built on the history of what you have cooked. So we identify patterns and similarities from other users. So we take all this usage data and try to support you even better in certain processes or steps or user journeys, as however you want to call this. So making a product really smart, kind of. This is what it is, and not just, you know, putting in data and representing data, but taking this data and make it even better. Might it be consumable, whatever. So this is a little bit the definition.
Thanks for the clarification there. I think it's always good to remind ourselves about the differentiation and also how they belong together, interconnect with each other. And maybe before we go a bit more into detail about Delight, as an introduction into Delight, how would you summarize Delight in like 1 or 2 sentences to kick off a more detailed look into the software?
Yeah, so Delight, I think we have touched the tagline visible data impact, which is on a very high level, right? Yeah. If I have to describe Delight in easy words or sentences, I would say it's tackling 3 things. One is a data unit is a support function, and you have very many stakeholders that you need to serve. So demand management, if you like, so, you know, like getting demand from different stakeholders and having a standardized process to prioritize this. That's number 1. Number 2 is portfolio management of your AI and data products, because certainly not everything that people ask should be new, I hope, but people just don't know maybe. So you can say, hey, we have this product. So it becomes actually an interaction between business and data teams, like, you know, collaboration on your portfolio and also making this discoverable and then also reusing products. So for example, if there's a dashboard in one business unit and they want to use this and there's another one, maybe we can combine the dashboards and build one product on the highest level and can use also assets and technologies. So also being efficient in how we work. It's number 2, efficient portfolio and prioritization again, also on portfolio level. And number 3 is all about value measurement. Like what's the impact of what we do? Like how much value does a dashboard hold? How much value does a recommender basket in a checkout process really creates for our users, and can we even measure this? And this is, I think, in short, what Delight is about: demand management, portfolio management, and also value measurement, I think.
So Max, now you really summarized it well in the 3 points you mentioned, but maybe you can give us a little sneak peek actually into Delight and show us in the software itself what you just described to just illustrate better.
Yes, of course. Welcome to Delight, Francie. So let me recap on the 3 things that I quickly show you from a user perspective, what you can do in Delight and how it all plays together. And what we try to solve is, like, again, demand management, then portfolio management, and then also value management and even measurement. So being a business user, remember what I told you before is, like, in many organizations, it doesn't matter if the data is central, decentral, still it is supporting in most of the cases a business need, you know. So there is someone who needs something. It's as basic as it gets, you know. It's maybe people don't like it, but let's say it's like HR, because you need human resources to perform certain tasks in a production line. So you need people there. And, you know, in most cases, the data unit is not providing people, but solutions, or should deliver solutions that are consumed, right? So what is the service offering of a data organization might be the first question. It can be workshops to ideate. It might be building solutions and so on and so forth. So, and what you can do in Delight is you have one single source of truth where you can get all the different requests from all the different departments: R&D, sales, production, logistics, HR, finance, corporate strategy, after sales, whatever, into Delight, right? So this is our demo tenant. It's called Car Fuel. So imagine an automotive. And what a business user can do is they can create new opportunities. And an opportunity they can describe as they like, but it's the first entry point into Delight. Like what do we want to so normally they say, what do we want to have? Yeah. Francie? Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask there, just to make sure that we all understand the same. What is the opportunity?
Yeah, exactly. So the opportunity is a level that we try to establish that is splitting up the solution space from the problem space. And that's a very common theme that you do in product. You always try to understand what's the problem, and then only then you start ideating solutions, because to a problem there might be very different solutions. And I think in the data world, because we are tech people, we always like if somebody tells us, can you build this? And we say, yes, I can build this because I'm an engineer. I can build stuff.
have the most fancy
And
new technology to do it.
exactly. And the better they can describe the technical needs, the better we feel, because we say, wow, this is what we can build, and I can even build it better. And we want to showcase our ability to build stuff. Again, we love this and it's great. And we need all those great engineers, you know?
Yes.
But it's in product management, again, in one sentence, is doing the right things, doing them right. So what we just have discussed is all about doing them right. Like, how can I build in the best way? How can I write the most efficient code? How can I use the latest technology and leverage this potential? All cool. But what are the right things we should do? Because independently how much money a company has, independently how big the data team is, I truly believe there are always more ideas than you can work on. And that's not necessarily true only to data, but to everything a company can do. So identifying the opportunities, we don't say problem because it's, you know, I think it's a bit too negative. We say, what's the opportunity in front of us? Is basically describing what and why we want to achieve this. So what is the changing component of our opportunity? So for example, and again, this is also a little bit that we try to establish as a mindset also through Delight, through a tool, because it's easier than to explain. You know, you can just experience this then at one point. So when we talk about we need to bring data literacy to the business world, what about we bring business literacy to the data world? So we just turn it around. So I think everyone needs to get one step closer to each other and understanding to defining an opportunity, which our customers also do together with the business, you know, in the beginning, to get this mindset in. Why do we need certain things? So an opportunity, and again, single source of truth, they can also give in whatever they have in their minds, and then the collaboration can start. I think that, and that's the first benefit of Delight. Certainly you have a starting point for discussion, which is not an email, which is not a phone call, which is all very unstructured, and it's flying around like crazy in an organization, right? So one single source of truth. So an opportunity might be increase production output in production line ABC. Let's say there's an owner of a production, and for some reason they have a specific goal for this year, and they want to find out if they can increase production output, for example, by having, and that's already a little bit into the ideation, but it's okay. They should just describe it as they have it in their mind, by having the right components at the right place at the right time. So then I can make easy example. Today, sometimes the production line stays still for 10 minutes because our component forecasting for, I don't know, certain car models, for some car models are not good enough. Good enough, for example, is also something, you know, we can't describe from this perspective always exactly what's the problem. If we can shorten this time or reduce the overall time by 50%, we can increase the output by, let's say, 5%. Okay, so, and they can just, question?
Maybe just before you go along, can you zoom in a little bit? Because I feel like maybe it's a bit too small to actually follow then. Sure. And yes.
So business priority, always high. We all know this. This is coming from a production department. Maybe I can take already some members here, and maybe even there's a stakeholder, maybe where I have to report to my output numbers. Say Nadim in that case, and I create the opportunity. And now we are starting like being in a workflow where basic business and data world starting to work together, because now we got this in, right? Before we go into the details, now if you go on all opportunities, I think that is important. I can go here by ungroup, for example. So we see all the opportunities somebody has created in the last time, right? So for example, you could also say, hey, today I'm the data. So business unit put the opportunity in. Now let's say we are the data team. It's Monday morning, 8 o'clock, maybe 9, whatever data people work at. And we say, okay, let's come together as a data team, probably more the management team of the data organization, maybe the data product managers with the data leader, and say, hey, let's see what we got as new from last week. And then we see, oh, we have 30 new opportunities. Okay, we have here already priority high. Of course, some are already assessed in that case. But for example, we have the one from Max here. You see there's no value number, no scoring. It's not assessed. So let's get in here, and then we are back into the work, right? Let's say we can out.
Yeah. So this is kind of like what you described before, that for the people can manage like this the demand of the business. So the business puts in the opportunities, which are like problems, desires, or needs that they have, and then the data team can go Monday morning fresh with a fresh view, for example, in it, and look for probable solutions.
Yeah, exactly. Or they can say, our data team, they work decentralized. So we have a team only focusing on the production area for whatever reason, could be. Then they say, okay, let's also just look at the ones from the production. And we see, oh, it's only 4. Oh, Max, this is the new one. Here's a request. Let's talk it through. Maybe then we also invite this person in a second meeting or immediately, but we are going to our demand funnel, as basic as it gets. And then a workflow starts. So description, value potential, value score, and confidence. Now I talked about Lumo. Lumo can help you here to translate the let's say bullet points from the business easily into a predefined template that you can fill and configure for your personal needs. So for example, it deducted, okay, value to be realized, 5% increase in production output, elimination, 50% downtime. So it tries to capture everything the business had as an idea, but bring it into a standardized template to also compare it in the future to different opportunities, right? So the standardization process is quite important. So not everybody writes in what they like. And then if we go down, we could start again, ideally also discussing with the business stakeholder who put it in, okay, what's the business impact of this opportunity? And again, we haven't talked about solutions, right? It's about what's your general assumption about if we would thrive for solving this opportunity or realizing this opportunity, what would be the value? 50% output increase or downtime to output ratio would be, let's say, 1 million euros. And then again, a value score that's fully customizable, which can replicate financial data, but it can also replicate different dimensions which are important, like effort, or also how sustainable is this solution that we might build or the opportunity can create. So there are many dimensions, and again, this is very specific for the company, and you can customize this in Delight to your personal needs. And what you come out with is a value potential. Again, we need a description how we realize this, which we spare now. And we have also a value score that helps you to have a second opinion when there are a lot of value potential in a similar range, right? Then you can still prioritize. Ideally, the value potential is even broken down into metrics, how we call it, or steering metrics. So how exactly, and this is the value management and also in the future measurement part, how do we really plan to see that this value potential can be realized? So for example, we have a cost reduction case, whatever. So we in any case need to break it down. Let's say this will be 500,000 and this will be 500,000. So ideally the metric, and they're also different. It's not only euro numbers, it can be also percentage and scores again. But they should add up to the overall value potential. So now you're wondering what's happening next. I mean, of course, what we forgot is to say, hey, what's the general contribution for our high-level business goals? In that case, it's probably increased revenue, because let's say if we can create more cars, then we can sell more cars and it might be increased revenue. So again, it's a little bit, made up here the story. But there are two things now that we start doing from the value assessment, business lineage, and solution ideas. So we have a clue why we should do it. Let's cross back. It has 24 and it's 1 million because we have sorted by value score. We could also go by value potential again. Then we see, this is the one we should now also look into, but we keep the example of this one. So actually it's assessed now. And now we are going into solution ideas. And solution ideas, it's doing actually two things. Number one is, what are our connected data products and what are maybe new ideas? So how can we now, with data, realize this value? And maybe there's also the attribution of the value might be not the full 1 million. Maybe we find out it's only 200,000, but this is the discussion that we are having now on solution ideas. Let's say here we have the super production component forecast model. Let's imagine this. Great wording, right? But we can also say, let's see what we have. AI-driven demand forecasting for vehicles. And demand forecasting dashboard. What about we have a look onto those and see, okay, AI-driven demand forecasting for vehicles, it's owned by Marty. Maybe we have a chat with Marty what it is used for. Can we reuse already maybe this analytical product? Or can we at least reuse certain data assets that are already there on our cloud data warehouse? So you see in seconds, you get a picture of what is existing. And with the solution ideas, we could also say things that are basically missing. So let's imagine we have talked to Marty. No, it's not working in that production line for whatever reason. Demand forecast, not even, okay, it's still a draft. There's not even something developed. Okay, also not an option. Or maybe we can bundle this idea and build a dashboard now because the value has increased for this product. But we can also say, no, not really. Let's remove them again.
Okay, so maybe to summarize, it actually helps you to identify if there are already certain data products that can be reused. For example, I don't know, a machine learning model or recommendation model or whatever, which can be adapted to a whole another opportunity, but the coding behind it and stuff is similar. So you can reuse it and don't spend, again, infrastructure costs on it or whatnot.
Exactly.
Okay.
Super description. Let's say what we did now, we went back to the solution ideas, and from here we can immediately create basically this product, and we see it has automatically created now a super easy business lineage. And now what we could do is we can start building down the business lineage from here. So let's say, okay, we can't reuse a full analytical product, okay, but we have talked to people. And we do know that some forecasting data we have seen before, let's say production data asset, this we can reuse. And apparently we see that this runs on the functional platform and the cloud infrastructure. Maybe there's another one. So we can start mapping, and I think that's what we discussed before, making what we work on visible, and we can tell a story. We can reuse the data asset from person XYZ. Maybe we also have to change this data asset, but it might be still more efficient to maybe extend this data asset and just build another complete pipeline for new data assets. So this reusability topic, I think it's something that Delight and also data product management as a whole is trying to follow heavily. So
yeah. Also can imagine just looking at it, maybe you're still gonna say it, I don't know, but that this tree of course can go so much bigger, and you can also see, okay, this one data product is maybe connected to so many opportunities or to so many data assets and whatnot, that I spend more resources actually on it and invest more of my time on it to really make sure, okay, this doesn't fail.
Exactly. No, I mean, let's look at the level on the production data asset. Our super model just came in here. Cool. But it's already firing up the dispatching recommender, the e-mobility data mart, facility energy analyst dashboard, and maintenance downtime predictor. You see it's all in a similar range, so those ideas are always kind of the same.
Yeah. So this looks actually like what you said before, the data literacy, but now the business literacy view.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what is super cool now, also this person, if it's basically there's a new product connected, gets a notification like, hey, there's a different consumer now. Max wants to consume the super production component forecast model, and so on and so forth. So it's fostering the collaboration of people, and also knowing that if they are changing, there might be new dependencies in the upstream of the business lineage. So what we have seen is demand management. Now you have seen how we ideate and how we map our existing portfolio to this demand, like in the process, you know. And then also what is missing kind of is the value management. And this is what the mission control comes into in. Like we can see exactly how we perform within the data team. We see how many opportunities we have, which are realized, unrealized. We can map it on our metrics that we have seen on the opportunity side. We can map it to the business goals. We see what our most valuable opportunities, which are currently realized. Oh, there are new ones. Why don't we work on those? So it can answer a lot of questions how to capture value and increase value. So value management. And also data product report. That was super cool. The best feedback I lately got, it's like the app store for my data products, because I see basically what has the highest impact. Data assets, production data asset apparently is the highest one. Yeah, we just worked on one. It's live, it can be consumed, cool. But we can also make priority decisions. Sales data mart has a very high delivery. Okay, value, it's currently delivery, nice. Pricing data, it's still in draft, but it has kind of a high value, holding a lot of value already. Why don't we start work on this? Do we have capacity? Should we work on this? So what Delight enables you as a data leader, and I think this is a little bit where I want to get, instead of just being reactive, this is missing. Why don't we have this dashboard, this data, and let's build the fourth generation of our platform, data platform. It's more being proactive. So imagine a business with ask, hey, I have a dashboard, I need pricing data, here it is. And not, we have to work on this and I can only prioritize it in 6 months because everything's working. I know there are a lot of hurdles to get there, but being a proactive data unit and not being only a reactive data unit, I think it's something that Delight should enable you and make your impact visible, make it easier to tell stories, like what's the value story of all the things that we do. That's Delight in short.
I feel like it also helps you to justify like where the money goes, so you can actually have an answer on what is the return on investment on the money that I gave you for this data initiative or this data product or whatnot. And I really like what you said before, to be more proactive and maybe leave not the service character of a data unit behind, but also take on a new character trait that is not just being reactive in a service character kind of way, but really take the stage.
Exactly. So that's what it should be. And again, knowing from numbers and the application of product management methodologies on portfolio level, in general, you say, and I think you have posted this as well, Francie, is like if you invest into doing the right things, you can save overall up to 30, even 40% also on doing it right. Because if you do the things right, but they are still wrong, then they are wrong things done right, but nobody needs. So this is a little bit the story.
Good that you've done it, but
nice. And I think that's something, that's maybe 2 more stories before we go to the next question, because my answers are always so short, Francie.
So short.
But just 2 thoughts. Number one is, and sometimes I feel like a broken record because I repeat this so often, but maybe it's important to give those messages to everyone again. Number one is focus on adoption. What does it mean? I'm the owner of an analytical product. My customer demand forecasting isn't set in stone for the next 10 years that this will be always there. If I'm the owner or Nadim is the owner, how can I go back into the organization and find opportunities to make this more valuable? Driving adoption makes sure that you have the budget and you have the team to work even further on this product. If there is no adoption anymore, no usage anymore, and that's the second story, is data units, and this is not a theme in data, we have to remove things from our platform. It's always adding stuff, adding. But let's say a product life cycle is implementation, it's adoption, it's growth, it's maturity, and then it's decline, and then it's decommissioning.
Bye-bye.
And this must also be considered in data more, let's say. And there are probably people who do this, but let's say in general, I think it's a theme to consider.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like that was more than a sneak peek, so I really appreciate it that you revealed so much for us. So, Max, thank you so much for this glimpse into Delight. Maybe as a concluding question, what I find always interesting, if you look back at the time since you started with Delight, with the launch of Delight and developing everything, is there a mistake you have done or some troubles you had that you learned from and you would not really want to do them again? So a lesson learned.
I mean, there are many learnings that I could share, much more than we have time to discuss about. Maybe there are two things that I like to share. So number one is, I mean, Mindfuel is a fully remote company, right? And for several reasons, my product team haven't been working in person for quite some time. We just met a couple of weeks ago. I think it was mid of March, like a month ago, kind of, in Berlin. And I underestimated just how powerful basically this is again. I mean, everyone working at Mindfuel, specifically in the product team, has been agreeing to this remote setup, right? Like people have been hired in the remote setup. Yes. So these are naturally people who have been actively chosen to be in a remote team. However, being together as one team, just, you know, we had like a full plan of what we want to do. And then it turned out there's just also the demand, because that's human, to talk about certain things. Yeah. Informally, because every day, every cycle or sprints, we call it cycle, you know, it's like always and people are not robots. And so this human interaction was super, yeah, important for us, also for me as a team. And that's my second learning. In a remote team, let's say as a CPO in a young SaaS startup, it's easily to lose touch and the common ground in your product team, because I have many roles as a CPO, right? It's called Chief Product Officer. But as it is, and I think many people can refer to this, is I'm also being and playing a big part in our go-to-market strategy, which per se, of course, there's a product that we want to bring to the market, but it has little to do on a day-to-day job what the product team needs. So like managing team demands and growth demands and marketing and sales and whatnot demands without losing, let's say, the common base with your product team is important. I most probably would do some things different and prioritize differently. But this is just the learning for going forward, because we can't change the past. And I think, yeah, looking forward to this still.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing this with us. I feel like it's something a lot of people in your position can relate to, especially if you are working in a SaaS startup that it's scaling now, got the first funding, it's all like growing and exciting, but it's also nice to connect with the people again on a personal level, not in a remote setting, but face to face, and have this personal interaction, and yeah, also accept that certain things are how they are, some things you cannot change, but make the best out of it.
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, nice. Max, so much for having time for our data talk for the second time. If you want to rewatch the first time, we have it on our YouTube channel up with a lot of other expert talks. And I wish you a wonderful rest of the Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Francie, for having me again. And as everybody knows, good things come in 3, right? So looking forward.
Oh yeah, let's go for it. Stay tuned.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.